start the show. We'll go off of all that.
Right.
That's funny.
Well, good.
This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, Deep End Broadcasting. Want to be part of the 30-day or 60-day transformation here for the holiday season? Contact Karen, aka Sizzle, on any of her social media platforms at Fit to Be Trained. Here's your host of Sizzling, Karen Dougherty.
Well, it's so funny.
I haven't said it that way in a while. I'll figure that.
I do. I like that one. I like them all, actually, because they all are different great periods of my life. But it was funny because
depending what dialect you have for what part
exactly.
of the country you're from.
Yeah, it depends where I was.
Beaufort.
Jersey is Dougherty, though, so that's the original. Minnesota, Dougherty.
Yep.
And you guys, the Southerners,
Dougherty.
Or Daughtry, which is very
yeah,
pretty.
Yeah,
I like that one. That one's the prettiest. Daughtry. Ian Daughtry. That's what he always says. He's here. So all his teachers, what do you go by? You go by how your name, you kind of go by how they're going to call you, because it was funny. I went to college in Minnesota. So if the teacher said Karen Dougherty, I was like, here. I wasn't going to correct her. I just wanted to be here, present. And then the Southerners do. So Ian was always being called Daughtry. And I think that's pretty.
Right.
Very, very fancy.
Oh.
But we were laughing because we were talking about our parents. And
oh, yes.
And laughing because that's when Steve was like, we got to turn that on, because it is a part of life. Here we are. We're coming into holidays. And it's big family time.
Yeah.
And I got to witness a phone call with Steve and his sister, and me too. Like, me and my older brother went through the aging parents part of life, and it's difficult. It's tough, and it's tough on so many levels. But it's also, it's a time where we all focus on coming together. Like how I heard you and your sister were like, okay, we got to do this and maybe do a trip, or it's great. It's great to have family, but it's a lot of work, ain't it, Steve? I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a difficult.
Well, you got to make sure Dad gets around safe for the holiday,
and enjoys himself. You care about making sure he's happy, even at the sacrifice of yourself. You and your sister, obviously.
I'm not a Thanksgiving drinker anyway, like a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, let's get plowed and let's eat food.
That was my favorite.
And I could never just eat so much food and drink, though. And without just like feeling like, bleh.
I could drink.
It's bad enough with the food alone.
I loved Thanksgiving though for partying, because remember when we were young?
The Wednesday night was always the fun thing.
Oh, epic! And
so
I used to work in bars too
on Thursday, all hungover. Is what I would do.
Yeah, that was the deal. That's what it turned out to be. And then my older brother, God love him, but our parents are gone, so we can talk about this. He would play hooky on Thanksgiving a lot. So I know he's laughing right now when he listens to this. He's not listening live.
Oh, he just wouldn't show up for Thanksgiving?
Oh my God, yes. He would just all of a sudden cancel at the last minute. And it was when we were older.
That's social anxiety, kind of in a way.
You know what?
Well, I do the same thing with a lot of our stuff, and it's not like I'm not a part of the family or don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But there are just times like, let's get this done early. We don't need to drag this out.
I heard you say that.
Day long.
Well, remember when we were young, it would be at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, because that was kind of the time back then, you and I grew up at the same time, like 60s, 70s, 80s, when you were expected to go. Then I moved to Minnesota, and I would try and get home for Thanksgiving, but I didn't have to. And then my parents were aging and other people were doing it. But now, yes, you're right. A lot of people want to get it done at noon. there's a lot of noon gatherings, and then you can chill out, you know, not go to bed on your food. Because our gatherings when we were young were going to like 7, 8 o'clock at night,
Right. Right.
And then I think too, like our grandparents didn't want to drive home in the dark. So it started getting earlier. But Thanksgiving was my favorite holiday, even when I was teeny. I loved that one because I love to eat and I love that particular meal. In New Jersey, we do turkey. You're Southern, so do you do ham?
We have ham usually on the menu, or even roast beef sometimes.
Oh yeah, I love that.
We have the Italian in the family, so once in a while,
yeah,
throws in like a lasagna.
I love that about Jersey too. Is yes, the Italians are around, so you're always gonna get like something extra, like you said, throw in a lasagna, which
Right.
to most people that's a big deal. Like
Right.
we're not Italian, so my mom making a lasagna. First of all, it's hard. It's hard to make, so it was a big deal. But for the Italian girls and guys, that's like a side dish. It's not hard for them at all. But yes, I loved Thanksgiving, and then like you said, it's me, it's Sizzling. I loved to party when I was young, and Wednesday night was the night, remember? And now that in Jersey, Thanksgiving night is we have like a kind of high school reunion at a local bar. I think that's pretty
Typically,
cool.
I think when everyone tries to generally do that, I think
I like
my
that. I
Kempsville
think that's a
High
cool
School,
tradition.
I think it's like the unknown rule is to go to like the AJ Gators up at the corner, which was right by the high school.
I think that's a cool tradition.
I've learned from past years doing things. Bless my sister because she's willing to host all this stuff every year.
Yeah.
Since my parents have been incapable of
doing
it. And my mom has, she did pass away a few summers back. So it is just my dad. But the last few years, I've learned that since I got to take him home, I call it hauling him around town. But since I do take him home, it usually isn't until 7:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So by the time I get home, it's like 8:30.
Yeah.
So there's just no drinking to be done at all.
Yeah. And if you do it early, you have a chance of coming home and, working off that meal, because you would just go to bed with that horrendously Thanksgiving stomach. Because I always have overate on Thanksgiving. Always. I even call it that Thanksgiving feeling, when you overeat at a different time of year.
Right.
So I expected, what I did one year? Well, I was doing a bodybuilding competition. So I had to track my food, and I overate. Like, this is kind of funny because I had never done one of those before. And I have overate on Thanksgiving my entire life, and I don't ever expect not to. And I tracked my food that day to see like does the phone break if you get like a certain amount of carbs or a certain amount of fat or a certain amount. But I did it even that year when I was doing the competition, and I went to see, I had two coaches. Like one was Kasha that we met, even she's been here before. And I had a posing coach, Vladimir Popov, great coach in town here. And I was all bloated, salt. I had to do my posing, and I was horrible. I wasn't very good at it anyway, but he was like, why do you look like, what's happening? Because I had like backtracked, but and he was really mad at me because he's a great coach. And I was such an idiot. I was kind of like, oh, really? Like, you can't eat on Thanksgiving, even in this sport? Because in bodybuilding, you can't, not if there's a show coming. And thank God I pulled myself together, because my show was in December and not far into December. So it was like not the smartest move that I did, but it had never occurred to me that, I can't overeat. Like, what? Everybody gets a cheat day, you know? It's just, sometimes I even surprise myself, you know, where I'm like, damn, I wasn't thinking. But, I'm doing this podcast on, as much as we're happy and cheery, and I want to stay that way even during this subject. I wanted to talk about mental health a little bit around the holidays because we're coming in on it. And we will talk. I don't know if we're going to meet next Wednesday. We might not be. We'll talk about that. I can, but
we're
not.
Fine. We're good to go on Wednesday.
But
we're clear.
But it's good. I wanted to talk about it today in case we weren't. But and these are the mental illnesses that I chose. And feel free to laugh about this stuff too, because it doesn't always have to be because we need to start talking more comfortably about mental health, because most likely somebody in your family, if it's not yourself, like a lot of this stuff I fall under.
How about everybody?
Right. I thank you. Like nobody.
I mean, no one I know is immune to their own anxiety or whatever.
Yeah. In fact, anxiety is one of them that I chose. Right. And that's what we were talking about yesterday at work, and work being in my garage. Like I fitness train and do Pilates reformer training. And that was, I think more, I don't think there's, well, we were saying more people, if they were checked, because I'd like to go get checked now, because they didn't have all the stuff when we were young. It's like to tell them, I know I'm ADHD because.
Oh, right. All right. So a real scientific diagnosis.
Yeah, like really, like, am I bipolar? Am I manic?
See?
And am I this? Like, I don't know.
Well, let me argue this just right off the bat. I think that's a tough road to hoe, no matter what nowadays.
Yeah.
Because you never know the motives of the other side of the people that you're talking to. Because when we talk about our parents and having to take care of them.
Okay.
And I've learned this. There's one thing I've learned about the healthcare system is that you cannot trust it for the money alone. They want you to come back all the time. Like my dad, they want to see him all the time. Why? Because it's just more money in their pockets. And while they kind of do that to him, they couldn't wait to get my mom out of the hospital trying to deal with her broken hip, in which she eventually died from an infection and probably didn't get the proper rehabilitation that she was entitled to, because mainly insurance just wouldn't cover it at the end of the day. So there's a lot of greed out there. Karen, I'm scared to death to actually go talk to someone to try to kind of have them label me into what they want to label me as,
I know.
To be honest. So I think a lot of that is self-corrected, and I think that's what everyone needs to know, is that they need to maybe just try to be strong and be their own doctor and realize they are the ones who need to try to solve whatever's going on.
I appreciate that, because you're right. They overdiagnose for sure. I mean, for sure. And so it would be interesting for our age group to go in and see what they would say, because they just didn't have that sort of thing when we were younger. Like, they're always happy to diagnose the children now. And it starts, because I had a child late in life. So my kid's only 21 and I'm almost 60. So he got all the diagnosis. He had to have all this testing, and I even spent big money because I wanted to make sure, like you said, that I was going to get a proper diagnosis, because you have to be so careful. Like, you can't just go where, it's almost like a puppy mill where they'll just say the same thing about every single kid,
Right.
He acts out or does anything, when really that was normal when we were young.
That's all part of the human genome at the end of the day.
I just think
for kids to be spazzes that time or whatever.
Like, it's really, I'm so grateful for the time that I grew up. I really am. But I joke because it was the time where you were either smart or stupid or good or bad. Like, you didn't get very much room for error, it was like, you're going in the special ed class on this one, because you misbehaved, but How do I know all that? Because I struggled through school, like behavioral issues and stuff like that. So often I was thought of as stupid. And then I got to college and I really applied myself and I was like, I'm kind of smart. Everybody was
Right.
really
Trust me.
surprised,
Yes.
including myself, because I would listen to that rhetoric, that, oh, she's this and that, and label me. And I had drugs and alcohol problems. So I get in, it's cool that we're just kind of really relaxed with this subject because it should be talked about without shame. There's no shame in not being that perfect whatever specimen that I would want to be anyway.
Yeah, and what is that perfect specimen?
I wouldn't even want to be anyway. Like now they do stuff with the spectrum and I'm always like hopeful.
I know that. Well, that's a weird. So that's a weird one too to me.
I know,
because now they're putting someone in a certain category of this is kind of what you are by the outside looking in at you, just in a generality, almost like a scarlet letter type of thing.
Right. And then there's legitimate, not that I would be considered illegitimate on the spectrum, but one of my friends who knows me very, very well and has known me for a long time. And I think he was trying to pretend that he was joking, but I don't think he was joking. And I don't think once he realized that I didn't take it as an insult, we laughed about it for real because he said, sometimes I think you're on the spectrum. And he didn't mean it like and I took it as a compliment in a sense because I was like, wow, that would make so much sense because I am a fluky person and people that just tune into my podcast once a week for an hour aren't going to pick up on that, Well, but if you live with me like he did, he even lived with me at times in my life. Like he knows me and I'm very like OCD. I've struggled with alcoholism, which I think is a mental illness for sure. Anxiety, depression. I mean, oh my goodness, the list goes on. But a lot of my stuff is situational too. Like it's not ongoing. And I'm grateful for that, obviously. But I don't have any shame for any of them that I just listed, but I don't know that I was always like that.
Well, I think, all right, so we have the word spectrum. One, I think everybody falls on a giant parameter of differentness. Is one facing one side or pointing one way any different than facing the other at the end of the day?
I guess
probably not. But then when people try to shrink it down to just try to put a specific group of people onto a spectrum, no. Wait a minute, MFer, you're on there too, whether you know it or not.
Right.
And that's probably the problem. You're on that asshole meter part where it's pointing to, which there's no shortage of those people who judge. Speaking of, that doesn't help the cause. I mean, and that goes all the way down to these kids in school and the bullying and stuff like that. Yeah. Just because, let's label this guy stupid or dumb, and then now we can pick on him or whatever. Yeah. And I wasn't the kid who got picked on in elementary school. Maybe I wasn't as popular in high school. Maybe I was real popular in college. I kind of tried to lay a little bit lower in high school myself. But yeah, my popularity, maybe took a break the end of junior high and high school or whatever.
Well, it's good you got to experience both worlds.
But I think maybe even some of that, lost in translation, and even many years later, there's no shortage of people who would like underestimate my brain thinking and the way that my brain ticks. And I'm like, wait a minute. I am way smarter than you in my book than you were giving me credit for. You think you're so super smart. Actually, you're not. You're not smart.
I think
you're kind of dumb to me in my book, and I'm the one who's smart.
Yeah, and I think it's mismatched with intelligence too. Like a lot of mental illness is like there tends to be like what am I trying to say? Like the spectrum, I always think of people on the spectrum as very, very smart, like, oh my God, they're over the top smart. And that's not fair to them. Because then I'm being a Karen. I'm 59 years old named Karen, and I'm grouping people, So I think a lot of times with mental illness as well, it's put into an intelligence, and it really probably shouldn't
it
be.
all, I mean, it all boils down to our DNA at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We all have it in our DNA where there's going to be something, one, maybe unique about us, but two, your philosophy is going to completely be different in every which way. And how you carry yourself mentally is going to be part of that DNA a lot of times. So
yeah,
there is
interesting.
Here's the deal. You got to, so the one thing that you can always tell yourself, literally, and this is in the day, in which we say you need to care about one another. Nobody cares about you. They care about themselves, because that's the survival of this world. They don't have time to care about anything else but themselves, to be honest. The way this world operates. I mean, you got to pay your bills. You got to, you always got to be working. Oh, I got to get this workout in. People, trust me, they forget that you are once you turn 25, you kind of see who your real friends are. Think of all the people that dropped out of your life around the age of 25 and kind of just focused on whatever they were doing or their best interest.
Why do you think
people
25? Because you're out of college?
Because I think so. I think so.
And
yes.
We're getting into our careers. And
everyone is always going to look out for their best interests. So when you say it like that, you can't sit there and try to beat yourself up like, nobody likes me, or I'm afraid to go out, or see these people or whatever. I can't even go to the grocery store because I don't want to be seen today. I'd rather just lie in bed. One,
I've been in all of them.
Everyone does that. It's everybody, for one. And then two, no one actually cares that's the mood that you're actually.
Well, I know that's what
really
you're trying to say. And my mom used to always say something similar to that. Like when you would be worried about something, or over worrying, or worrying about what people think, or does this dress look good enough, or am I too fat, or blah, 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 blah. My mom would always say that to, or
don't be over dramatic, is what my mom would always say. Don't be over dramatic.
And she would say, nobody's talking about you. She would say nobody cares, and it sounds really cold, but what she was trying to teach me is that people are thinking about their own stuff, and they're thinking about their own things, or maybe thinking the same thing as you, like this, I don't look good today, or I'm nervous about this or that.
Well, that's why it should be easy to walk into a gym at the end of the day too,
Well, that's one of the scariest things in the world.
It is.
It really is. It's one of the scariest.
But that's because we make it scary in our own mind, when at the end of the day, Joe Schmo over there in the corner doing his burpees, wishes he wasn't there. He was at home. It has no idea that you're probably actually even walking around in there.
I know. It's so true. And I named my business in Minneapolis called Homebody Fitness, because I was insecure to go to the gym, and I was super fit. And I was like, what the heck do regular girls feel like? Oh my God. And that's how I opened my business. And that was back before trainers were really going to people's houses. And I stayed busy because Homebody Fitness, and it was Minnesota. It was cold in the winter, but I got those girls that were like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't really know what to do. And it was a girl thing too. I know that girls feel that a little more than men, because we've talked about that before. But I want to tell you how I broke this down, and we can go, because there's some interesting stuff in this paperwork. It looks like I have a lot, but this isn't all. I got some stuff mixed up in, but I broke down to different. I broke it down to depression, grief, These are the four, it might be more than four: alcoholism and anxiety. I think it was just the four I
Yep.
wanted to
All
do
right.
that are very, and I joked about it in a class that I had earlier because I said we were going to be doing this podcast, and we laughed because all of us can have all four of those in one day, in 1
Yes.
hour.
Yeah.
Depression, grief,
Right,
alcoholism, and anxiety around the holidays, because this is when families coming in together. So it was kind of cool. So what I did, because I love Chat GPT, so what I do is I go in and I tell the robot exactly what I'm feeling, what I want it to do. I wanted how fitness relates to this, like how we could pull it into our podcast. So for depression, common holiday triggers are loss of loved ones,
Yep.
isolation or family tension, because we're all getting together, and is there family squabble that year or not? Seasonal affective disorder. I never thought of that. So in different areas, we have different kind of weather. So people are dealing with it getting cold. Maybe that's affecting them, and then they're going to be
Nomad syndrome or something like that. I got you. Yep.
yeah. That's why I love Chat GPT. My son always jokes because he's like, until it turns on us. It's great right now. We're getting smarter and smarter. How fitness helps. So how does fitness help depression around the holidays? Releases endorphins and serotonin. Now, obviously, that happens all year round, not just on the holidays. It's a natural mood booster because my job is to try and get people moving. So create structure and purpose for the day. So if you're feeling depression and you have an appointment to go see a fitness trainer or go meet some friends at the gym, you're going to go. It helps with the structure, gets you out of that isolation mode. And I know all this to be true because I've done it. Builds momentum and self-trust through small wins. Builds momentum and self-trust. So self-trust would be, I can do it. I can do it.
Yep.
I can do it. I did it yesterday. I can do it. So I thought this was such great information. So thank you, my little robot.
Not even yesterday. If you've done it at any time in the past,
right.
You already proven that you can do it.
And the small wins thing is really important because I do a peer recovery, like coaching with people struggling with addiction, or maybe not struggling anymore. I don't want to say they're struggling with, because most of them have gotten out of treatment and they're ready and they're just like, what the hell do I do now? So that's when I step in and I'm like, hey, this is what you do. But we live on small wins, like micro goals. A goal being like, I want to stay clean for 30 days. Well, the micro goal would be 1 day at a time. Hey,
nephew Dave, who does
1 minute at a time. Sometimes
nephew Dave, who does the football show with me, he is just past 3 weeks of not smoking cigarettes.
Wow.
And he's bragged about the 2 and the 3 weeks.
Because that is the hardest, they say, smoking cigarettes.
Well, these apps are great. They're telling you how much money you're saving too. That's a good deterrent when you can see that. A pack of cigarettes is $10 nowadays.
No, I don't know, and I can't believe it. But I've smoked all through my life. I haven't smoked in a long time this round, but
I haven't smoked in about 10 years.
Yeah, me too, probably.
Shout out to Omar, who challenged me to quit, and I did. And the world I live in has 0 cigarettes. I don't even realize cigarettes are in this world.
I haven't seen a cigarette in a long time.
The neighbor smokes, but it doesn't even, faze me that she's smoking.
One time,
or even give me it's unbelievable. I did smoke, really.
I go through phases where I want a cigarette and I don't want one now, but it's usually when I'm in high stress. And one time I was walking into a doctor's appointment and it was for my son, and but I was by myself, so that I must have been like meeting with one of the doctors, and I was walking in and there was a nurse outside, or somebody that was smoking a cigarette, and I joked with her, I go, I could push you down and steal that cigarette right out of your hand. because I wanted one so bad. So yeah, smoking cigarettes and quitting smoking cigarettes is difficult, but for some reason that one doesn't stick out in my mind. I usually would just get sick of it and it would just go away. I've been lucky, and then I would pick it up again. I wasn't always, in fact, one of my girlfriends was like that. She was like, how can you just do that? But okay, so support. Okay, how nutrition. So I asked, I wanted how fitness helps you in depression and how eating right helps you in depression. So when you eat well and you're dealing with depression, it stabilizes your blood sugar and reduces mood swings. So in other words, when we get depressed and we want to just munch out or stuff like that, it's going to screw with your metabolism and cause mood swings. That makes such good sense. Supports brain health with omega-3s, B vitamins, and magnesium. So when you're eating properly, you're getting most of those vitamins without even supplementing. You know, like omega-3s would be in some fish, B vitamins, magnesium, a lot of broccoli and like green stuff. And when you're eating well during depression, it reduces inflammation linked to depressive symptoms. So now, if you're obviously anything that we're talking about, I should say, is something that health you want to go to a professional about. You know, like you want to talk to your doctor, you want to maybe go into therapy or stuff like that. I've been in and out of therapy my whole life. I've always had that as a tool in my back pocket because there were just times I didn't know what to do. So my tool, you know, now I have tools in my toolbox so I can, you know, I can self do, but a lot of things in life, you might need an extra little helping hand. So any of these subjects I need to say that first. But this kind of stuff really does help. Now, grief is a really interesting one, and it's new to me. Not feeling grief, I just wasn't aware how grief, it's broad. A lot of things, a lot of subjects can fall under grief. We always think of just how, me and you were talking about family. We've lost our mothers, both of us, and my father too. So thankfully your father's still alive, but it is a lot of work to do, you know, when they're still living. And then obviously the grief comes when they leave, but it's not just about people passing away. Grief can be the loss of a business, the loss of a relationship, a loss of any kind. So a lot of us, and that was brought to my attention by an attorney, not even a doctor. He was an attorney, and we were talking, and he was like, oh, you got to read this book on grief. It's so good, because we were actually talking about an addiction recovery program together. Anyway, holiday grief layers. Think of how, you know, if it's your first Christmas without someone, that tends to be a very depressing time for some. So a lot of our people out there in the world are dealing with that, or memories that resurface unexpectedly. So how does fitness help if you're dealing with grief? So I guess what I need to say is my chat GPT only thinks of when you lose someone, but we both know that grief does go more than that. But let's see how fitness helps. It offers a safe outlet for emotion and energy. I definitely have used fitness my whole life for that purpose. Create space for reflection and release. So I think that's really great, because that's true. When you're involved in fitness, especially if you're out for a walk, a bike ride, or something like that, and you're not having to perform something, you really have time to reflect and think, and your endorphins are going. So science is on your side, you're moving, your blood pressure's going, and it's a time where even possibly it says release, where you can perhaps let things go after time or whatever, or make decisions to go talk to somebody about it. I mean, it's a time for you to make space and think about what you need. And then fitness can be done solo or with others. So choose what feels right. So sometimes when you're grieving, the best thing you can do is be around others. Don't isolate. I'm a big isolator. Are you? Do you isolate when you're feeling blue or?
I mean, I'm a natural isolator, so
Mm.
someone could say that I'm blue all the time. I
I
choose to think of it this way: my rent's so much money that I'm going to stay here and enjoy where I live because I'm getting my money's worth.
I'm glad that you think like that, because that is a coping mechanism, because I've been coping with that for a long time. I got rent too. I mean, you live in the same neighborhood,
Yes.
and we live
We
by
live with
the
the rich.
beach.
We live with the rich people. Yes.
Yeah, and it's and I always have. So it's like, wow. I would joke because I lived on the north end, which is very wealthy if you're
And
not
here's the
from
deal
Virginia
too.
Beach,
Like,
but
I
I
mean,
lived in a
and
shack.
and then now it's a pain in the ass to move.
Yeah, it's
Too.
very
And
expensive.
everything's expensive now. So I mean, it's not like we're really out of line from
It's really true.
everyone else in the world. Check this out. How about this? I saw someone. There's a places for rent site on one of the social medias. I'm not sure why I get those. I think I was helping someone look for a place a couple years back, so I'll see him once in a while. These things, but someone has a house in Norfolk. It's empty, and it's four bedrooms. And they want to rent out each bedroom for $1,200, $4,800 a month. They want to bring in on that house, which is basically not the best neighborhood either. Now the house is redone and nice, but that's the point we're getting at in this world where people are trying to price gouge you like that.
I know, it makes me like I'm a paycheck away from being homeless. And all my friends say that. They're like, you'll never be homeless and da 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 da. But it really makes you be grateful for where we're at, because $1,200 for a room. And think of our young people, how they can't get out of their houses.
Credit to the comments. No, everyone's like, no one's going to pay that. So
right, but I mean, that's where we're getting at. That's what you said.
That's what they're trying to get.
And you know what that does? That makes me depressed, anxious, grieve, and I can't get drunk.
Exactly.
I can't get drunk because I'm alcoholic.
Well, there's something to say about that. I mean, you need to stay. Trust me, when you're not feel the world. Yes, the world is designed to try to bring you down right now in every facet. So you need to be more than ever kind of positive for yourself.
Yeah.
Because everything's expensive at the grocery store. Our bills go up nonstop
because
with no warning.
Is on, right?
With no warning. I was telling someone this the other day, and this is just a couple years. I mean, this is a couple years back. This isn't even recently. But with my health insurance, and we're talking about health insurance and stuff. This is how I know this health insurance is a scam. So, with my health insurance, I was paying $215 a month for a good plan. Not even the good plan,
right?
Bottom of the line, bottom of the line
plan.
Right. And I'm paying it. Everything's good. Next thing I know, my account's charged like $735.
Oh no!
And I'm like, okay. And then they do another charge the next month. And I was so busy working because it was the end of the lifeguard summer. I'm like, look, I'll call these. Must be a mistake. I'll call them up. I'll get at least I'll get the money credited for the future. That they billed me wrong or whatever. And I finally got to the point after the second one where they charged me, and I said, just so you know, you're charging me like 3.5 more times than what the policy is supposed to be. Let's correct that now or whatever, and I'll take the credits. And they're like, oh no. We decided you make too much money, and we went ahead and raised your policy. That's your payment now. Like, wait a minute. How do you decide how much money is too much money from what I make from a policy that I already had where I'm paying that X amount? And they simply, that was it.
Oh my
I was
gosh,
done with
I
them.
can't believe that.
I immediately said that I took my card off file. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I mean, I've heard stories, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because I've heard stuff
That's
like
the
that.
stuff that
But
will bring you down at the end of the day. And that's why you got to stay kind of
oh
strong.
my gosh, I can't believe that. I am so sorry that happened to you. That's terrible. Um, oh my goodness. Like it doesn't matter how much money you make to have that charge. Like that would send
Oh yeah,
me.
just no warning or anything like that.
Was,
but apparently that's happened to other people too. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be the only one
right
that happens to.
They
But that's the kind of thing that happens that will give everyone a bad month. I mean, I was expecting to use that towards rent.
Yeah, that would blow me out of the water.
Tell the landlord, hey man, it's gonna be maybe an extra.
Yeah,
and that wasn't the case. I had my rent paid, but
yeah.
No, I mean, well, there are times. So the nature of the business of my work is such that I need to rely on other people to pay me.
Yeah, right.
I'm not getting a government check.
Yes.
People to pay my company the money that they're invoiced, and they don't always do that. So things can get a little interesting at times and a little stressful.
Which
as you have, or
anxiety.
Let me drink, or no, I do go. Yeah, absolutely.
Anxiety. I think of that as
you gotta talk yourself off a ledge a little bit.
Yeah, some people deal with anxiety like really as a mental disorder, and that would be a lot because what you're talking about is going to put you into anxiety and depression. And I need to say, people, I'm obviously not a doctor, neither is Steve, and you're just listening to our opinion and all of this stuff. You would go to a professional to get diagnosed as stuff. We're just,
well, she would. I won't.
We're just, but I agree with you, Steve, that you have to be careful because people like to overdiagnose.
Yes,
it is funny what you said, but it's all. I agree with you. I agree. I do want to talk about the nutrition piece of why you want to eat well if you are experiencing grief, which you think, well, what does that have to do? What does one have to do with the other? Well, if you're eating healthy, it prevents the up and down, the spiraling, which would be like the mood swings in depression. But prevents emotional eating. Like if you're eating well, we all know that we are capable of emotional eating where you overeat at this time and then you're not eating at all. So trying to regiment in some way, like every 3 to 4 hours, have something to eat. I do. When I lose my appetite, I drink a protein shake, and if I can't get something down, I still have to use. I have to have nutrients in my body for my job, for thinking. So that's what I do. So if you do want to still be eating, I don't care how much grief or depression you're experiencing, try to get food in you. Honor. And why else do we want to do it? Because it honors the body during a time of emotional depletion. That's just over my head. I don't understand what that's saying, but and can be ritualized.
I've had enough and no more.
Yeah, like I
have no more F's to give.
I like that. Can be ritualized. So cooking a loved one's favorite dish with intention, I think that's a really neat idea. Like say my mother passed away and she loved making baked macaroni and cheese. And by the way, she was darn good at it. And she did have a special recipe so that would be cool to honor her. And now that I read that, I might do that during this season, is get out her old recipe, and because hers had eggs in it. She would get that Cracker Barrel cheese, those big and cut them up like
Oh,
two.
nice.
I know, it was really good. And baked, and me and my brother used to like it crispy. My dad was pretty good. He wasn't a picky eater. He would eat it anyway, but she would bake it so it would get crispy on the sides. Yeah. Eggs in it. It was good. So that's a good way to incorporate nutrition in with your mental
And
whatever
try
you're
not to,
struggling
you
with.
know, and even if you have a bad meal, just try to make your next one your good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't dwell on it.
And a bad meal being what? You're thinking about like overeating or
Whatever, you
doing
know, if
like,
you have to go to, you know, I'll just use the worst example, McDonald's or something, you know.
oh yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. If you're on,
Um,
if you're traveling and you're dealing with,
and
you
that
have
is
to eat
that
on the
is the worst
road.
example. Yeah. Just try not, you know, don't dwell on it, because people can sit there and just over the one meal start guilting themselves to death over that thing.
Oh, I agree.
And you know, now we're going right back into everything that we're talking to. So just make it easy on yourself and just only focus on what you can control in the future.
Right.
And the
What's that?
present.
What's that? It sounds like the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
courage to change the things I can,
Well,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Mike Lane, rest his soul, and that is one of my best friends who actually did kill himself right around the Christmas holiday. Probably, I would say 13 years ago or so now, maybe. You know, almost you lose track now at this point. But he said this famously to me when I thought I was at rock bottom at one point: don't sweat what you can't control.
Right. I mean, that is one of the best sayings.
If you can't control it, don't sweat it. And you'd be amazing if you can just kind of convince yourself of that, how much of a burden you can drop off your shoulders.
Right.
Just kind of instantly like that.
And I actually am wearing my Chad shirt. Me and you did this step. And so this is suicide awareness event, you know, that you do steps, and it goes to a foundation that is for suicide prevention.
The Step Up Foundation.
Yeah, the Step Up Foundation. But the next
I think that's what it is. There's another Step Up thingy out there that I was getting ready to donate to some other Step Up. So make sure you know it's about stepping up on a box 1,000 times.
I don't think you can go wrong though. If it's anything that's suicide prevention, I think we might be in that month, or we just left it. October might have been it. But the next mental illness that I want to touch on, I think is a mental illness, is alcoholism or substance abuse. People might push back and say, well, it's a disease. Okay, well, it's a mental disease. So if you're dealing during the holidays and you're dealing with that, you know, you'd have, it says the holiday risks, you know, the social pressures, the pressures you feel to drink perhaps at a party.
Oh, everyone has a Christmas party.
Right. And so there's ways to make yourself, I always take kombucha to parties, or take something that I want to drink. Red tart cherry juice is really good for your joints, and it looks like you're drinking a glass of wine. There have been parties that I've been at where I even take the wine glass and the fancy glass. But now, I mean, anything.
It's interesting you said that the red tart cherry juice.
I
heard something about that this morning. The girl said she's stacking that with magnesium.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh man, you must feel amazing and sleeping good.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would do that at parties. The only thing is that I had to be careful of is that it did look like the girls that were drinking red wine. So I'd have to go like this if I put my glass down to make sure I wasn't picking up somebody else's glass. But there's things that you can do, and perhaps maybe if you're new in sobriety, don't go to the party that creates you anxiety. But I was one that wouldn't miss a party. So I would go. I was lucky. I started working in bars when I quit drinking because I didn't have the monkey on my back, and I was able to make more money because I made less money when I was drinking, or you know what I'm trying to say. You get kind of busy in the addiction to forget making money if you're at work. Coping with stress or loneliness, the holiday risks of So holidays do tend to make us stressful, don't they? Especially women, the cooking and the buying the gifts and getting, and I'm not saying men don't have stress too. I just know the female stress that goes with it. Decorating, all the stuff that we want, everything squared away, the tree, the house, the da da la la. Can put a lot of stress on you. And if you're dealing with alcoholism recovery, it is a time to slip. If you're in alcoholism, it does. I would drink more at Christmas time. I would drink more. This is a time for drinking. So here's what I have to say: don't drive. Call an Uber. If you're in still where you haven't had you haven't made the decision to quit yet, no judgment here. I get it. I just know, be careful, because it is a time of year where you're going to parties. Make sure you're eating and drinking water, right? And that's all of us, whether you have a drinking problem or not. I mean, come on. Anybody, we all know that anybody can get a DUI. Don't drive. Drink tons of water too. That'll help. And then how fitness helps alcoholism, whether you are in active alcoholism, that's what we'll call it, or in recovery. Fitness helps replace the dopamine that the substance kind of takes away. So when you drink alcohol, know that it lowers your dopamine. It's just what that drug, or for the lack of better words, does to our system. So if you're feeling the blues and you drank the night before, and I used to tell this to my friends that were that we did a lot of cocaine back in the day, and cocaine definitely steals your dopamine. So I'd have a girlfriend call me and be like, have the blues, I'm so sad, I'm so sad. And I'll be like, girl, it's not real. It's that freaking drug. It's making you think that you're sad. You're not sad. Get your poop together, get some food in you, and da 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 da. And I'd have to remind my friends. Sometimes you have to remind yourself. So again, if you're in active addiction, remember that those drugs or alcohol does steal the dopamine literally from your brain. So resist that, and get some food in you, get some exercise, walk around the block, call a trainer, call me if you're local, get moving. And it also, fitness helps with addiction, it builds resilience and self-regulation. So I think it's similar to the small wins kind of thing, and the self-talk. I can do this. I can do this. You can do both. I worked out in active addiction and in recovery. I'm living proof. So this might be an uncomfortable conversation for some, but I need you to know that there's no judgment in active addiction. In order to get into recovery, you have to be an active addict. And I know somebody that just recently got sober, and I said to him, I'm like, well, welcome to the trenches. Now you can really help people. Now you can really people will trust you, that are in that world will trust you more if you know what it feels like to be in both. And fitness helps create a community of support. And my particular fitness community is very supportive. I went through so much, including you, Steve. You were always supportive of me, no matter what I was going through in my personal life. And some of it was what was happening on these papers. And where did I meet you? At the gym. And gym friends tend to be good friends. Everybody's got their struggles. Everybody's got their stuff. And people that are working out are caring about themselves, but maybe they're not dying to be there either. So we rely on each other to kind of get that habit locked in. And sometimes it takes a village or a community. And how nutrition helps addiction. I have a peer recovery or a sober coaching program. I don't like calling it sober coaching. It's a peer recovery program, but it's for when when people are just getting sober and they're like, what the heck do I do now? I don't know how to live without drinking or drugs. And I'm like, well, I'm here, and I teach them how to eat. There's a lot of food that support your liver and brain recovery, like amino acids, and there's certain foods that, like pomegranates, can really help with cravings for specifically heroin. So I'm really getting down and dirty here, but that's what I do, and that's one of my favorite things to do. I like helping anybody help themselves, but because I'm in recovery, I definitely like helping others with that sort of thing. Depression is something I've experienced too, and it really, this fitness stuff really is game on. It's a game changer. Pomegranate juice helps reduce cravings, and well-balanced meals and hydration help with all that. So as simple as that, like I'm on my client, they have to, track their food. They don't have to do anything, but I suggest, and the hydration is a big, big, big deal. Reinforces self-care and boundaries. So that's another thing with eating well, helps somebody in active addiction take care of themselves. So at times when you're in an active addiction, you feel like you can't control anything. I know that feeling, but you can control what you put in your mouth. So even if you are just making sure that you're eating a certain amount at I'm sorry, as in a certain amount of time, like every 2, 3, 4 hours, that is a sense of self-care. And I think my favorite thing to do with a person that's in active addiction is love them and try and get them to love themselves. And that's a hard task at times, but eating well reinforces some bit of self-care. So it's starting soon. It's starting somewhere, I mean to say. And I will move on. That's heavy. That's a heavy one. Active addiction is not something to be ashamed of. It is a mental illness, people. And you don't need to be ashamed in front of me. Oh my God. Oh my God. People that have known me know that I have struggled and conquered too. So I feel pretty known about that subject. So the next one is anxiety. And the holiday triggers for anxiety are overwhelm, having to travel, and the social dynamics. Didn't we talk about that? How my brother would play hooky, because it was the social dynamic that he was just like, oh, I'm not in the mood, and sometimes we had all been out partying on Wednesday night, and Thursday would come and he's like, oh my God, he would get, I don't know. I think a lot of it was a social overwhelm. He would just get anxious and often play hooky on Thanksgiving. And I know, I think it's a man thing too, because I feel like I've known men through my life, and they would be like, yeah, me too. Yeah, I play hooky on Thanksgiving too, or Christmas Day. Another holiday trigger is the financial stress. And we just talked about financial stress and what that can do, and perfectionism, like feeling like you have to have the best decorations in the yard, the perfect tree. There's people that really that matters to them. It might seem like silly problems, like that's not really a problem, but a problem is what anybody thinks is a problem, right? We're all different, and we all have different levels of what is a problem or not. And I want to respect everyone in this hour. I think that a lot of women go through the financial stress and perfectionism, wanting their house to be just perfect. Okay, so how does fitness help when you're dealing with anxiety? It regulates the nervous system. And we know that to be true. So deep breathing, moving, all the things that go with fitness. Deep breathing is just I had to take a deep breath myself, Fitness improves sleep and reduces cortisol. And cortisol is a hormone that really is the fight or flight hormone, it's called. And it's a stress hormone. And it tends to be associated with belly fat, on women, how when we get stressed, cortisol starts firing and it really hangs on to fat around the belly area. And I'm not even going to get into that because it's a whole nother podcast, but how fitness helps with that. It lowers your cortisol, builds confidence and body awareness. So having confidence helps with an anxiety disorder. I would agree with that. I think confidence helps with many, many things, but a lot of what we're anxious about is that we just don't feel good enough. And I say we because I've dealt with anxiety. I was even on medication for many years for it. And I want to throw this in. It's not on the list, but when my sleep is disrupted, I tend to get more anxious. So I think it has something to do with that cortisol. I think when we have cortisol pumping that stress hormone, I think sleep, when you're anxious, it might mess with your sleep, and therefore that stress hormone, you still got to go to work and all that stuff. So that's why exercise is good, because it helps you sleep better. So it's all kind of like builds on each other, these things. And how does nutrition help? Okay, well, here it says, how does I got to reword. It says avoid caffeine and sugar because those spikes will worsen anxiety, and caffeine obviously could increase your anxiety just because of the heart rate issue and stuff like that. Supports gut health. So, when you have anxiety, your tummy could get messed up, therefore your digestion, all that stuff. So gut health is linked to mood regulation. So this all makes great sense in why you would want to really regulate your food. And when I say regulate your food, y'all, I'm not talking about tracking your food. I do ask my clients to track their food during this time of year, just as an overall, not a anything strict. I just want it to, so people just are aware of what's going on. But if you're experiencing any of these issues, maybe get a little stricter with your food tracking, to make sure that you're not eating too much sugar if you're experiencing anxiety, which is easy to do. I joke the holidays are covered in chocolate and icing and whipped cream. So remember that. Or if it's not a disorder that you're dealing with all the time, like say you're just feeling anxious one day, think about what you were eating. Think about what you were doing, and you might find that, oh, maybe I'm not really anxious. I just ate a lot of sugar. I just drank this caffeine. Or maybe I'm not really depressed. I was overserved last night. One of my favorite sayings that I learned in the South is this little old lady said, I do believe I was overserved last night. And that meant that she drank too much. And so I loved that. What a ladylike way to say that she drank too much. And say you're feeling blue, well, maybe you were overserved the night before and you're not really feeling blue. So think about that kind of stuff. And all of this encourages mindfulness and grounding, which is kind of off, like I'm just reading what it says, but I do agree, any of these problems can be regulated with a simple walk around the block and a good healthy meal, even if it's just one, even if it's just one time during the day. So I'm going to get ready to close. My buzzer went off a little bit ago, but we talked about, like, I'm looking at my notes here, encourage listeners to start small. Start small. Even a walk, I already did it. One walk, even one nourishing meal, that matters. And it says offer gentle prompts. What's one movement that feels good today? What's one way that I can nourish myself this week? That's really forgiving. Take it week by week. That's a little broad at the holidays. That makes me nervous if you're dealing with alcoholism. I need you to do one meal every day if you're dealing with that. But one movement that feels good today. I like that. Invite listeners to reach out, share your stories, and join this community. I don't do that enough. I need to end this podcast with us doing that. Please reach out. Like us, subscribe, even better yet. Reach out to us on social media. Some of this stuff was really, really serious. But I'll tell you right now, me and Steve are both no strangers to any of this stuff, whether it's with ourselves or somebody in our family. And we're just old enough to know better. And I especially have programming for this sort of thing. But even if you just need to talk to someone, reach out, reach out to us, reach out to someone else. Don't just sit on it, especially this time of year. It's really a time for reflection, and if that means that you need to take extra care of yourself, do it. You deserve it. Everyone does. And with that, I'll zip it and wish everybody a great week. And we are going to be here on Thanksgiving Eve, I'm pleased to hear. So with that, I'll tune out. Do you have anything else you want to close out with, Steve?
Nah, that's it. We'll go ahead and get on out of here.
Get on out of here. Get on. And then we go to this really happy.
And we'll come back next Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving.
Well, I wanted to figure out when our year anniversary is. It's coming up. If it hasn't already passed.
I don't think it's passed. I think it's early December.
I do love this song. This is happy. Although I picture a big bar with tons of big giant mugs of beer. But you can drink non-alcohol beer, people. It's just as fun. Now you can have fun in the bars if you're dealing with
Picture a church choir. Yeah. All right, Sizzle.
Oh, what a night. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm grateful. And I like